you said that you came very close to losing control of this session and that there's a backstory. Could you give us specifics on that?
Well, what you do in a special session, you don't know, especially as you get late, you'll start to see things. Individuals are very tired, they're grumpy, and they're angry, many of them. They've had all day, they haven't had anything to do but sit around. And so if you don't have everything lined up, you're asking for trouble. The issue of that second bill, 1702, which involved education committee and their unemployment benefits and how they get them, that had created so much pressure, I understand, in the House that they once threatened they were simply going to go home. I don't know, as well as budgets would fall. That is a panic situation. And so I was ready to send the Senate home at that time and maybe come back today when cooler heads could prevail. But I'm not going to give you the full backstory because I'm already in trouble with the governor. But what happened is the opportunity to compromise fell through because individuals' behavior and remarks, people got angry. So I was unable to try to restore that bill in any way, shape, or form. I was going to make a try, but all of a sudden I realized it's gone. And so, but then I think the speaker and I decided we're just going to shoot the moon and get out of here or finish. And that was hard because my members I had told my members, they could tell I was very frustrated, that I was inclined to send them all home because I don't like to keep bringing people back on the floor. They sit around. But then I had to say, all right, the House says they're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. And but there was that time there where one of the chambers, I'm including me, could have gone home, just simply gone home. And I think if we'd gone home, you come back here today, it would have been a different special session as well. It would have been another special session. And I don't know how long it would have taken us to get out of here. So we were it was about 8 o'clock, was it 9 o'clock when that crisis developed last night. And when you're talking to the other side by phone and don't forget, we got masks on, we're trying to deal that whole thing. It really became very difficult to communicate. And if you make one mistake, then you are going home or you just recess forever and you wonder when you get back. I've been through it all. And so we were in that crisis situation. I mean, we were really right there. And I thought I was simply going to send the Senate home. We'll come back today and hopefully we can put it back together. I'm not sure we could have. We would have had more problems with other bills and no votes on the budget. So that is as much of the backstory I can tell you. There's a few things that are juicy in there that you'd like to hear, but I'm not going to tell you in terms of what caused some of this uproar. But that's the way it is in this business.
What was the effect of the governor's press release excoriating Republicans in the committee for for the failure of 1702, and how did that affect any opportunity for a compromise, and what compromise might have there been?
So I see where the speaker's press conference is supposed to begin in a few minutes. So I know you want to get ready for that. So I think probably what I'll do is get off here now because I really want to accommodate the speaker and everybody else. That's a definite way of telling you I don't want to answer the question. But now I'm going to answer it, and you'll do what you want with it. But you said what effect? It had an effect. That's it. That's all I've got to say. So life's like that. Everybody's well-intentioned. Everybody's up against it, and let's just say that. Let's just say it had an effect. But all of life has had an effect. So, here today, gone tomorrow, you do the best you can. And I don't want to say another word about that. And if you ask me another question, I'm just going to go to vague. I will go to vague. I would admit it to you. I will go to vague. I admit it. And you can then chop me up and say, Peter went to vague on us when we asked this question. And your audience is going to say, what is he talking about? Well, he went to vague. And vague means vague. Everybody knows what I mean by vague? Hello? Hello? Somebody say something.
How did you get from kind of this impasse around 8 or 9 p.m. last night where tensions were high to powering through the rest of the night? Like, how did you arrive at a resolution?
Well, I'd like to say you do it methodically and carefully. But often when you're in that kind of situation, you're exhausted, it's late, somebody simply says, I've had it, we're doing this, boom, I don't want to talk to anybody else. And those conversations should never be recorded, and no one should ever hear them, because literally that's what happened. And there was the moment, it happened on another special session, I remember years ago, which went 26 hours on the House and Senate, I was in the House. And the same thing happened when we were at a breaking point, and somebody said, we're not leaving here. We're not leaving here until it's done, whatever it's done. That is the simple fact of how this happened. I was not doing well, and I made statements. Speaker made statements. I made statements. Speaker made more statements. These are statements that you wouldn't ordinarily make. And after you make them, you hope you don't get any questions from the press about those statements. So it's all I'm going to tell you about that. And I'm not trying to play games with you. You can tell I'm uneasy now. I'm playing with my mask. You can tell I'm going to vague because I'm in enough trouble with the speaker and the governor right now. And I really would like not to get into more trouble, since I think we're going to try to get together. We already have this morning, speaker and I, to do more good work for Oregon. So I've just told you that I've had better days when it comes to my relationship with the speaker, and I've had better days when it comes to the governor. So to the extent that they're listening, I'm being a very good boy. I want to do well, and I'm an accommodator. So that's the best I'm going to tell you. Does that answer your question? You can tell I'm not over last night. So here, just be calm, Peter. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask me, please?
So is the governor angry at you because you can't force Betsy Johnson to vote a certain way, or what is the exact reason that she's angry at you?
I made a call I shouldn't have made. And I was at the podium, sat down. I don't know why I give you these details, you're not interested. So I sat down, we had gone to a recess, and I got a call from the governor to say, how we doing? And I proceeded to misbehave. I brought up a press release, and that was not a good idea. So let me just say that it was not a good idea, because it all went downhill from there. And I'm lucky to get out of it. So that's all I'm going to say. And you can figure out what the heck I'm talking about, or you can't.
I can figure that. So it wasn't that you failed to usher the bill through the Senate in the first place. It was more the conversations afterward.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't catch heck for that at all, to tell you the truth. You do understand, everybody's thinking about votes, but have you ever heard of suspension of rules? You notice we had to suspend the rules on almost every bill. If we don't suspend rules, not only are we there today, we could be there this whole week. So this is a very dynamic place when it comes to issues, one issue affecting another. So I just want to leave that with you at this stage of the game. But, I did not catch heck for not getting the vote for that bill.
So did you catch heck because you told the governor that you did not appreciate the press release that she sent out shortly before the Senate convened?
I appreciate everybody. Appreciate you. Appreciate human beings. Let's just say I brought it up, and I shouldn't have, and I should have known better, and it did not go well. And I admit it. I mean, it just did. I'm not going to tell you everything that was said, but it didn't go well. And that's all I'm going to say. And I regretted bringing it up at that time. It wasn't a smart thing to do. I should have known better from a human nature standpoint.
Did you bring it up before Senator Girard made those statements on the floor, or when did you bring it up? When did you have that conversation?
Well, Senator Girard was making statements every second, so I don't know when it was. I don't remember. Listen, I don't remember all these sequences. I was just going from moment to moment.
Both with the emergency board and with somewhat the bills that were being handled here, there was this undertone either from like the anger level of Herman Bartziger to Marty Wild over in the House, basically saying that they've been shut out of the process, and that so much of this was dealing with issues that Portland needed, that Portland wanted. And whether that was true or not, that was gave them the optics, the perception that was going on. Was there, a tilt towards Portland on this? And how can you get away from that if you have another special session?
Well, first of all, I had talked to Herman about the mask, wearing a mask, and so he and I have a relationship. So I'd ask him about, please wear a mask the day before, and he said he wanted to talk to me. And I jumped when he said he had asked for $1 million to help his area. I would do anything I could to help his area because they do have a cartel issue there. State troopers have told me there are certain places they won't go down there. I haven't heard that since I lived in the hills. Well, I didn't live in the hills, but I know about the hills and hollows of West Virginia. So I had never heard that, and I know they've got a very serious problem now. Herman is very upset that what's going on in Portland was not handled by the Democrats. They didn't condemn it. It was a very big issue with me. He'd call me up, et cetera, et cetera. He also issued a statement on it. So all that. So all that was inside him, and you saw him explode. This issue, often there are legislators on the floor that constantly are going to pound Portland over and over again, particularly certain Republicans. And that's just the way it is. They will pound at Portland for whatever So, and did you see how I handled it? Were you there when I handled it? I literally,
I watched it, yeah.
My wife said, my God, I took the gavel, and I was really upset. I will talk to Herman. I can't guarantee it never happens again. Yesterday there were some times that yelling was going on the Senate floor and others, which is unacceptable to me. And so, I can't guarantee it won't happen again, but I do know that it's there and it's festering, and it's something I didn't think. I knew people were angry, but I didn't think it would reach the situation literally where I had to seriously gavel somebody down and literally intervene. So I can't guarantee it won't happen again. People are not happy. They're grumpy now, and they're angry. And that is more of a human response to what we're going through now, I think, than anything else. And that's what you saw. But Herman, when it comes to Portland, Fred Gerard, when it comes to Portland, I'm just going to tell you, I can't stop them. They just got this Portland thing, and I wish they'd stop it. It's counterproductive. I don't think you pit one part of a state against another part of a state in this crisis situation. So I'm very disappointed in that, but I cannot guarantee it won't happen again.
Not so much on like the rioting, the demonstrations issues and things like that, but like the emergency board kind of intercepting the money that was supposed to be sent out geographically by per capita and sending it out to special projects and things like that. The idea that they're shut out of helping to decide the agenda here, there's this feeling that that they're not being listened to. I'm not talking about
I don't like that. Well, okay, because if you look at the capital construction list that we did send out, where the projects are from, the committee I put together, I put Arnie Roblin and I put Finley on a committee to monitor all that because they're both from rural areas. So we are struggling over this rural urban thing, particularly though we're struggling over counties and cities. They want money and they don't want to be told what to do with it. And the governor feels that in some ways we're misusing the e-board. It's challenging her authority. And the e-board, which you should pay a lot of attention to, has become a fourth branch of government. I don't make any apologies for that. It is operating now as it's never operated before. So, and much of what is being said, and I'm going to end it with this, Gary, is people, they're acting like we're in a general session. We're not at all. The special session, by definition, this is what goes on in special sessions. That's why they're called special. They're often called on a moment's notice. They're emergency sessions. And so input, Gerard was in all the meetings we were involved with. He was. I made a point of that. My two co-chairs worked with him. There was a lot of that was going on right and left. I put him on the major committee. But I guess in some ways, we're never going to get beyond this right now because we're a divided state and a divided people as we are in the nation. So that's all I can say, Gary. I can't do any. I have nothing more profound to say. Now I am feeling guilty because, well, I think you've all left. So please go join the speakers' press availability and then the governor's. And I think you'll get different responses because I tend to talk differently than they do. So, I'm live now, so.
Thank you for your time.